Who can contribute to a Roth IRA? Let's break it down on this episode of the Hawaii Retirement Show. All right, and welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Hawaii Retirement Show. In today's episode, we're going to talk about who can contribute to a Roth IRA. I want to do this episode on who can contribute to a Roth IRA, and then the next episode I want to do is going to be on the Roth 5-year rule. So to go in a little bit about the rules and regulations surrounding the Roth IRA. But for this episode, we're going to talk about who can contribute to a Roth IRA. And I think a good place to start is with the concept of earned income. So in order to contribute to a Roth IRA, or a traditional IRA for that matter, you need to have some form of earned income. And earned is the key word in that phrase. So we're not talking about passive rental income, investment income, or any type of unearned income. It's got to be earned. Now, the exception to that rule is that if you're married and one spouse has earned income, then the other spouse can contribute as a spousal IRA as long as the spouse who has the earned income has enough earned income to cover the contributions for both themselves and the spouse with no earned income. So that's number one. You have to have earned income. So you can't be retired with investment income coming in, Social Security or whatever it might be, and say, I want to keep investing into my Roth IRA. You have to be working essentially in some form. Now that earned income can come from, commissions, can come from a salary, an hourly job, whatever it is, as long as it's earned income. So in that same vein, there's no age limit to who can contribute to a Roth IRA. You could be a teenager, working your first job, and as long as you have earned income, you can put that earned income into a Roth IRA. Or likewise, you can be somebody who's still working into their 70s or possibly even their 80s. And as long as you're still working and you have earned income, then you can still contribute to the Roth IRA. Now, when it comes to income, there are income limits, or what they call income phase-out ranges, to where you can no longer contribute to this Roth IRA. So in other words, if you make too much money, then the Roth IRA is no longer available to you. So let's see here. I'll look at 2025's phase out ranges. And the reason it's a phase out range and not a exact number is because you can contribute maybe some, but not the full amount. Like for a traditional IRA, the phase out range is, if it's over this much, you can deduct this much. And if you're over this much, you can deduct this much. And eventually there's a threshold to where, okay, if you make over this amount, you can't deduct any from that traditional IRA. And those are just going to be non-deductible contributions. So here we're talking about the Roth IRA again. This episode is solely focused on the Roth IRA. The phase-out range for 2025 will be $150,000 and $165,000 for singles and head of households. And let's see, it says that's up from $146,000 and $161,000. So it looks like it jumped up about $4,000. So remember, if you're single or head of household, if you make over $165,000 a year, you are completely phased out from the Roth IRA. Now, there are a couple of things to note here. There's something called the backdoor Roth IRA and the mega backdoor Roth IRA that we're not going to get into on this episode, but there are those other strategies available. The other thing I want to bring up is when I'm giving these income limits, what I'm referring to is your MAGI, modified adjusted gross income. So it's important to know that it's not just gross income. It's your modified adjusted gross income, which is different than your gross income. Now, for married couples filing jointly, the income phase out range for 2025. Now, 2024 is different. I'm looking ahead to next year, and I'm getting these numbers off the IRS.gov website. A married couple filing jointly for 2025 Roth IRA, it looks like it's increased to $236,000 and $246,000. So that's the phase out range. The $246,000 is where you're no longer able to contribute to the Roth IRA for a married couple filing jointly in 2025. 2024, which is this year, which you can still contribute, the numbers are between $230,000 and $240,000 for a married couple who can contribute to a Roth IRA in 2024. Those numbers were. So it's just something to keep in mind where you want to check to make sure if you're approaching the upper limits of those income thresholds, you might want to check in to see, can I still make these contributions to my Roth IRA? Now, if you're well under and you just know you're well under, if you're a married couple and you're making, well under $230,000, you're at that $160,000, $180,000, then you're free and clear as far as your ability to contribute to the Roth IRA. Something to note, the Roth IRA, unlike the traditional, and I don't want to get down the rabbit hole of all the rules and regulations around the traditional IRA, but the Roth IRA can be used in conjunction with, your typical retirement, employee retirement plans, such as the TSP. You can have a TSP, and as long as you follow these rules that I'm discussing here, then and you're able to contribute, you can also contribute to a Roth IRA. Likewise with the the state, we have the 403B or the 457, the deferred compensation plan. As long as you meet what I'm discussing here of who can contribute to a Roth IRA, you can contribute to a Roth IRA in conjunction to those plans. You don't have to do one or the other, and having a retirement plan such as the TSP or a 401k or a 457, 403b doesn't exclude you from participating in the Roth IRA. Okay, so just to recap there, we talked a lot of numbers. So you must have earned income. There's no age limit, but you need that earned income. And then with that earned income, there's income limits, right? So there's a threshold if you earn too much where you will no longer be able to contribute to a Roth IRA. And the last thing I mentioned is these Roth IRAs can be used in conjunction with most of your employee retirement plans, such as the TSP, 401k, 457, 403b. Okay, moving along to catch-up contributions. Now, this episode is kind of about, can I contribute, right? That's the title of the episode. So we're going through the rules if you can. One thing to note here is catch-up contributions if you're age 50 and over. So if you're age 50 and over, you can do an additional $1,000 contribution to your Roth IRA. The limit for Roth IRAs right now is $7,000. And in 2025, I don't believe the catch-up contribution is going to increase. I think it will remain at that $1,000 if you are age 50 or older. That's the catch-up contribution. Now let's talk about, so if you satisfy all these and you can contribute and you want to contribute, let's talk about when you can contribute to this Roth IRA. And what I mean by that is, essentially, you have until the tax deadline of the following year to contribute to the previous year's Roth IRA, right? So you have this limit, the $7,000 limit for, let's say, 2024. You can start making contributions for your 2024 IRA to count towards that limit in January 1st, right? Starting the year all the way through past December 31st of 2024. and up to April 15th, right? Tax deadline. So it doesn't end at the end of the calendar year. If you get into February, March, and you say, you know what, I kind of want to top off and max out, or I want to contribute a little more to last year's, counting towards last year's limit for my Roth IRA, you can do that up until April 15th, the tax deadline. Now, we touched on a lot of things here, and IRAs, in some ways are incredibly simple, and other ways are incredibly complex. Okay, so we just touched on a few things about who can contribute to a Roth IRA. And for the next episode, I want to go into the 5-year rule. There's a couple of them to keep in mind when it comes to Roth IRAs, and I think they're often overlooked by, the everyday investor. Not deal breakers, but just something to keep in mind as we're talking about Roth conversions, or even the 5-year rule for contributions. So that kind of subs us up for who can contribute to a Roth IRA. Stay tuned, because we'll do a couple more episodes going a little bit deeper on some different aspects of the Roth IRA. And as always, if you have anything in particular you'd like me to talk about on the show, email it over to aloha@hawaiiretirementshow.com, and we'll see y'all in the next one.
The opinions and statements presented on this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations. Never make any investment or financial decisions based on information offered on this show without first consulting your financial, legal, or tax advisor. All economic and performance information mentioned on the show is historical in nature and is not indicative of any future results. All indices mentioned on this show are unmanaged and cannot be invested in directly. All information is believed to be from reliable sources. However, we make no representation as to its completeness or accuracy. Lastly, all opinions expressed by Jason Cutitta and any guests on the show are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of or are endorsed by ToBA Financial. For Jason Cutitta, investment advisory services are offered through ToBA Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor offering advisory services in the state of Hawaii and in other jurisdictions where exempt from registration.